School food. We all deal with it. Every student has had a meal at school, whether they brought it or bought it. This is a comparison between school food in China and school food in America. Let's start with America. The food is not very tasty, and we actively avoid the school food and bring our own lunch. That's what I did when I went to school. This food was so bad at my cafeteria that I never really bought it. In high school, I started eating the cafeteria food, and after about 2 months, I pretty much brought my lunch to school every day. It was that bad. The burgers never had any melted cheese on it, and almost all the items found in the cafeteria were unhealthy. This was during the time of the No Child Left Behind Act, and since then we were supposed to have healthier lunches, but I personally don't think much progress has been made. So American school lunches and breakfasts have remained unhealthy, untasty. Contrast to China, the food in school is very tasty, and the students want to eat the food. If you were to go to a Chinese high school or even a middle school that has a cafeteria, every single meal time you will see students lined up, ready to buy the food and eat the food. The students speak for themselves. In China, the cafeteria is one of the best places on campus, and food is good there. In America, they avoid eating it.
Lunch is served.
Check and meet.
My second reason that school food is better in China is it's affordable. In the middle school I worked at in California, most students could not afford the meals, so the government had to pay for the meals via a government-subsidized school lunch program. But even though these meals were subsidized, the food was so horrible that the students never ate it. They survived off Taki Fuego and potato chips. It was like the government thought they didn't have any money to purchase food, but they'd come to school every day with potato chips and unhealthy snacks like candy bars. And they'd skip lunch and just eat junk food. How's a teacher supposed to effectively teach students that are going around hungry off sugar highs from potato chips and candy bars? It was a big problem, and I don't know if it has been solved. But that's in America. If the food is so bad, students will bring their own food. And what do most kids choose? They choose the potato chips and the candy bar. If their parents just give them a few dollars, my students at the middle school would stop by at 7-Eleven before the school day, buy a couple bags of potato chips, and that's all the food they ate that whole day. Even though they qualified for school lunch, they avoided it because it was so bad. Now back to China. School lunch is affordable. Most meals will range from 7 to 15 yuan, from my memory. Breakfast was 2 to 10 yuan, depending on how much you bought. Lunch was usually 7 to 15, that was for one person. Rice, meat, noodles, dumplings, baozi, most of the stuff you find, and dinner the same thing, 7 to 15 yuan. Average this, someone will spend around 30 to 40 yuan on the high side, maybe 20 to 30 yuan on the low side, and that feeds you 3 meals per day. So you're spending around $2 to $5 per meal. And this might not be true for all China, but in my school, I didn't meet a student who wasn't able to afford the food. So there were no government subsidized food programs. Every student had to pay for their own food, and the parents would give them money. And yeah, however, I do support if someone really needs that food, then usually family comes out and helps. So either way, people were able to afford the food better in China versus America. And lastly, the food in China is handmade, and the food in America is not. Very few items found in an American cafeteria are handmade. It all comes packaged in some box, and the lunch ladies have to just put that in the oven. That's what gets served. When I was in elementary school, I mostly ate oven-baked pizza almost every day for lunch. Given the choice, I didn't make the healthy choices. I was a kid. I was eating what tastes good. And that's why Jamie Oliver had to come and make a documentary about school lunches and how unhealthy they are in America.
Hello. The younger kids are really struggling, so I wanted to see if the kids even knew what fresh food looks like. Are you ready for my class? Who knows what this is?
Potatoes.
Potato? So you think these are potatoes? Not potatoes, though.
I don't know.
Do you know what
In China, they hand make the lunches. There are chefs that work around the clock to serve the students for 3 meals a day at the boarding schools. And for the middle schools that do have a cafeteria, that would be lunch and breakfast. They are dedicated to giving good food to the students, and they are really good cooks. You actually need to know how to hand pull noodles to give students noodles, as opposed to just opening something from a box, putting it in an oven, and then saying, hey, lunch is served. Lessons for the West, particularly America. I think we can learn something from the school lunch in China. I think we need to start really looking at how healthy our lunches are. We need to encourage our kids to eat real food and not just live off potato chips and candy bars. And we need to really work hard at finding what kind of funding will work. If we are going to have school lunch programs, then we at least can do the students a favor and give them food they want to eat. That's all I have to say for now, but this documentary is special because I have some friends that sent in the videos. Don't just take my word for it. These people also think that the food is good in China.
这是我们新世纪学校食堂1楼的烤鱼，对于一个吃鱼爱好者来说，这么大一份真的超满足，而且味道鲜美，价钱合适，让人吃完了还想吃。因为分量真的超级大，所以4个人拼着吃最合适不过。我们4个人在一起吃的时候真的超级开心，有一种聚会的感觉。但是如果你想吃的话，需要提前1天预定哦。以上就是我对我们食堂最喜欢的食物的介绍。
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Nano Media here. Just wanted to talk about the cafeteria food you can get in China. I taught at a high school, so the cafeteria food there was actually pretty good. It's more like a food court in China, whereas the food that you order in, say, a public high school in Canada is not really that good. You don't have many options. Like, you've got basically a sad excuse for a cheeseburger or some French fries or some snacks or a sandwich. But food in Chinese high schools are pretty much just like a food court. You can order noodles, soups, stir fries, like a wide variety of different dishes. It's really good. You know, I went there about a dozen times, but, you know, I prefer to cook at home. But I definitely would say that the cafeteria food in Chinese schools are much better than what you'd find in Canada.
Hi everyone, I'm a student of class 10. As we all know, Chinese food is rich and diverse, and the meals in the canteen of the new century are also various. For example, we have noodles, dumplings, which can be divided into sliced noodles, Lanzhou ramen noodles, and fried noodles with soya sauce. Adding vinegar and pepper, very delicious. It's just like a taste feast. In the new century high school, you won't miss the food in your hometown, because you can taste all kinds of food in New Century High School. I love New Century.
I'm Anna, a teacher in New Century High School, which is a boarding school, so its canteen plays an important role in students' life. This is our school canteen, a two-story building. It provides 3 meals a day for almost 2,000 students and teachers. The food in the canteen is various and delicious. Among the staple food are rice, steamed bread, 包子, 饺子, and all kinds of noodles. Besides, there are various stir-fry vegetables and meat dishes like pork, chicken, beef, lamb, and fish. Students can choose freely, depending on what they like and how much they want to pay.